So my husband is in the hospital. He was admitted. Uh, he had to get some things checked out. And while this is not a video about my husband's health or um, what all that means, as I was kind of sitting here, just kind of calculating things in my head. And I really wasn't going to even make this video. I really wasn't even going to talk about it like normal. My de-stress or my levels of emotional anxiety or the process by which I go through kind of looks like this. And I debated about whether or not I was just even going to do a video about it, but I made a commitment to be transparent, and I made a commitment to walk through this journey with you all. And it wasn't until I was reading comments, because like I said, I read all the comments. I read all your comments, and I try to respond to all of them and meaningfully respond. But, so I was reading one of the comments, and one person said, I forgot which video, but it was just basically because, I talk a lot about eating healthy or how I choose to combat my relationship with food or the poor relationship with food that I had. And someone asked me, well, how do you feed your husband? First, I thought that was funny because it sounded like a pet. But, and then another person was talking about how it was difficult being in a household trying to start a health journey. And I think it was her daughter or somebody they just eat whatever they want. So it made me start to think about the topics that probably a lot of people don't talk about in the health journey. I haven't come across many videos where we talk about that, but here goes. There's a part of a health journey that it's lonely. It's lonely. You're pretty much, at least for me, let me just point out for me. I think I talked about in one of the other videos that when I started my health journey, I started it by myself. I went on a 90-day raw reset, and that I was out there solo, not solo, but solo, meaning by myself on an island by myself. Everybody thought it was crazy. I thought it was crazy. My husband was like, you could do that, but me and mine, we're going to be over here doing this. And that's okay, because I think the message that I want to process through right now, this is like a therapy session for me. But the is that when we make this decision, we're making it for ourselves. We make it independently in our own mind, and it's a decision that we make. It most likely won't be a decision that anybody else around you makes, including people that live with you. And there is a part of me that struggles with the idea that I could sit here in front of this camera and I can encourage so many people, have more than 70,000 people viewing and commenting, and yet that may not be the same level of viewing and supporting that I may get with the people around me. And that frustrates me. It frustrates me, honestly, because I want to see people live out their best life. I spent my entire life creating plans for people to live their best life. And that included health, even when I wasn't healthy. That included, breaking down barriers, because I work with people with disabilities. And So I always have this desire to see everybody live out their best life. Now, I think about when I think about the consequences that we have or create for ourselves when we don't make good decisions, it makes me feel sad. It makes me feel sad when I was in it, and it makes me feel sad now. And a part of me, goes through this struggle where I say, there's a scripture, um, 1 Timothy 4:16, where it tells us to watch our life and doctrine closely, because when we do, we not only save ourselves, but our hearers as well. And the beautiful thing about scripture is that it will translate differently for you depending on where you are in life. And so at one point, that just meant, that I do good and I will, motivate and inspire others. And at one point, it thought like that. And now, like when I read it, I'm hearing something different. And I'm hearing something that I think that we should hear. And it helps us or it helps me to understand where I am and the decisions that I make and what that really, really means. So I threw out some data, facts, like number of people that watched the video, number of people that comment, and all this other stuff. And I threw out the fact that my husband, in many videos, he said, do you, boo, do you, boo. I'm going to stay over here doing this. And anybody who knows me knows I inhaled that man. I love my husband. I love my husband. Just the thought of him just makes me grin, So the fact that he is experiencing things that I believe um, that he should have more control over, and he's a health professional, that he should have more control over, it frustrates me. Even, Jillian Berry and I, we did an interview where she interviewed me. I was on her podcast, and we even got into a conversation. She was talking about her parents, and I understood in the moment what she was talking about. There are times, there's nothing you can do to make somebody else make a decision, just like there's nothing that anybody else can do to make you make a decision. We make our decisions for ourselves, but we are in control of ourselves. Whether or not we exercise that control or not, we are in fact in control of the decisions that we make. We are in control of what food we put in our mouths. We're in control of how we spend our day, things we decide to consume, whether it be content like TV and what have you. But we make decisions every day that influence who we are as people, the lives that we live. We do have control of that, and we need to acknowledge that. Now, back to the scripture. So when I was talking about 1 Timothy 4:16, and questioning, if I'm doing this work and I am watching this life and doctrine closely, and I'm not only saving myself, like curing myself of certain conditions and alleviating myself from having to take certain medication, then what about my hearers? What about my husband? What about my best friend? What about the people in my immediate circle? What about why isn't it not extending over to them? And the reason why I'm sharing this with you, because I know that there are people, because I read your comments, there are people experiencing the same thing. And what I get, or how the how the scripture is translated to me today, it's translated to mean that it says, because not only will you save yourself, but you'll save your hearers as well. They are not my hearers. Just because they may be witnesses, just because they may be observers, just because they may be in the room, meaning present, that doesn't make them my hearers. At times, what we have to offer, what we have to share, is for those who want to hear it. There was a time when I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it from my doctor. I didn't want to hear it from my mother. I didn't want to hear it from nobody. I wanted to live my life the way I wanted to live it. And so, therefore, in that moment of time, I was not a hearer to the person that may have, or to the content, or to the video, or to whatever that was trying to talk to me. So those who are motivated by what I'm saying, those who are motivated or inspired to move, to act based on my journey, what I share, those are my hearers. And a lot of times we want to make someone a hearer, but you can't. Just like they couldn't make me a hearer when I wasn't ready to hear it. And it's frustrating. To be honest, it's frustrating. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because there are decisions that we make to our own bodies, but they affect others. And not in a good way. Like the emotional distress, that struggle of feeling like I don't have, there's not, it's out of my control. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do to make the situation better. Of course, I pray extensively. But physically, I have no control over the situation. And so that, as a friend, as a wife, as a sister, it frustrates me. And I say this because in true transparency, I don't want anybody to think that my decision automatically created, pathways where others around me did the same. There was a time. I think I told a story about how we did this 40-day fast. I'm not sure if I told this story to y'all or not. But either way, we did this 40-day fast from laziness. And it turned out to be us exercising for more than, as a group for more than 365 days of the year, committing to exercise because we were fasting from laziness. And so there are periods of pockets of time where the path was there and people got on it. Did they stay? That would have been their personal decision to make. So yes, in my circles, there are times when people, were able to jump on, but maybe they didn't stay on. And I'm not talking about a level of perfection. I'm talking about, staying on the path. You may fall down, but you're still on the path. And you'll get up. But there are some people who completely got off the road and like, I'm out. And there are people who are still on the pathway and still trying to figure out ways to get up again, to stay motivated, um, to love themselves better, you know? So I just wanted to just say that. And when I read the comment and people are asking, you know, how did you stay motivated or they assume that everybody in my household was following along. Absolutely not. I was by myself. And for the most part, I stay on this journey kind of by myself. Um, and it's not good nor bad. It's just a fact. The reason why I want to make that clear is because we have to make a decision for ourselves. And no matter the circumstances that are happening around us, we have to stay committed to the decision that we made for ourselves. To say that I'm stressed right now is an understatement. Everything in me wants to go get a bucket of butter pecan. Everything in me wants to eat every rice dish under the sun because I'm looking for an out for the emotions that I'm feeling. I'm looking for a quick relief of it. Now, because I've gone through this journey for this amount of time, I already know intellectually that that won't solve the problem. That still doesn't mean I don't struggle. I'm not struggling with the idea of not staying on the path. So you find alternative outlets. That's how now you're in the conversation. That's how you become in the conversation, because I'm literally just using this moment as therapy. I don't even know if I'm going to even post it, but I'm literally just talking myself through a real moment. So I think what I want to express is that when you're on this health journey, you're not always, surrounded by a whole bunch of people who all want to do the same thing. It doesn't look like a video of a Zumba class where everybody's just excited and doing the same steps. Most of the time, you're dancing alone. You may be the one on your raw reset right now and live in a household of people who are carnivores or who junk food eaters, and that's not their journey, nor their decision that they had to make or that they wanted to make. They are going to continue to live their life. That doesn't mean that we abandon the decisions that we made for our own bodies. And I believe that there's a purpose, because I always have to I have to find a light in everything. I have to. I had a supervisor that it frustrated me that I did that. I wouldn't just jump on the bandwagon of, oh, woe is me. But I have to find a light to it, because then what will be the purpose? Why are we here? If we're not going to try to find a solution, then what are we here for? If we're not going to try to find an opportunity, then what are we doing? So I know, because I know this for a fact. And like I said, I don't want this to be a video. Uh, this is not a video about necessary relationships, or so to speak, or marriage or anything like that. This is about us individually. Even a marriage is two individuals coming together to, do something. So, but my point is, just real quick, this story. So my husband was like patient 0, 1, 2, or 3 in the area when COVID hit, March 2020. And At the time, he was the only one that survived on the unit. And that was, whew, treacherous to go through. Couldn't be with him in the hospital, couldn't do anything but pray. And deep in prayer. Like, deep. But I think about that because he caught COVID bad, still has long COVID. And at the time, like I was thinking about sorry, I'm all over the place and I'm not editing this, just so you know, because I don't have the mental capacity to edit a video. So at the time, I thought in a moment that had I not gotten myself on this health journey, then both of us might have been taken out. And it's just him and I. Who would have been the one looking for the foot of the cross to pray that hard and beg that hard? Because there's not a soul on earth that ride harder for my husband than me. I confidently say that. Who? And see, the thing that nobody really talks about is like the emotional struggle that happens. Not just emotional struggle. It's not just emotional struggle. It's a whole grocery list of stuff. It's isolation, it's guilt, it's frustration, it's compassion, it's fear, it's grief, it could be pride. It's just a roller coaster of emotions. And we don't think about it as much because there's a responsibility as a partner, as a friend, as a sibling. There's as a child, as a daughter. There's a responsibility of caring for loved ones that that's not going away. And that's not to be debated. And I would like to address the struggles that one can go through when we make decisions that we believe we're making for ourselves, but actually becomes a decision for someone else that they didn't make. They are a committed child, adult child, they are a committed spouse, they're a committed friend. They could even be a committed neighbor. And that passion and compassion that they have for you and love that they have for you, at times we might take it for granted. Because when we make decisions today, say, I do what I want to do, I live how I want to live, that's not true. You don't live how you want to live because you can affect the person who's made an emotional, innate commitment to be by your side, whether it be a mother, a father, a brother, sister, cousin, spouse. It doesn't matter. Because at some point, and I'm not talking about just general health issues that happen. I'm not talking about that. Like Jillian and I were talking about people being on oxygen tanks and still going outside to smoke. You don't think that the person who either lives next to you, above or below you, next or with you, is concerned about the lighting of a cigarette while there's an oxygen tank in operation in the home? See, we don't think about these things. These are the things we don't think about because we think about ourselves as operating in a vacuum or in a bubble. And it really isn't that way. You know, my husband and I, we talk all the time, and he's always telling me, because he's the chill one. I'm the one that's all the way, everybody knows this. He's the chill one, laid back parlay. I'm all the way on 1,000. But he'll tell me all the time, just relax, chill. How can I relax? How can I chill if you're not well? If you need hospital care, how can I relax, chill? How? It's impossible for me to relax and chill if my husband is not well. So the anxiety that one feels when things like this happen can turn into frustration, can really take you off your calmness, if you will, because it's impossible for you not to feel something. And then when you get put in that situation, resentment can come into. I'm just being honest. I'm just talking through it right now, that you don't resent. There's no love loss of the person, but you are angry or resent the fact that they put us in that situation. My grandfather, well, I was very close to my grandparents, very, very close. My grandfather, he never went to the doctor a day. I remember one time in my life that he actually went to the doctor. It was because he cut his finger and almost cut it all the way off, cutting something. Other than that, he never went to no doctor. I don't know about him going to nobody's doctor. And I love me some grandpa. That man, yeah, he was present for me. And when he got ill quick, hospitalized, certain circumstances happening right behind one another, and then that's it. And I just remember doctors speaking and feeling like walked around, because it was my year. I graduated from undergrad, and on my graduation day, which he wasn't able to be present, and because he was in the hospital, and I went to see him on that same day. After graduation, I went right to the hospital because I wanted him to see me in my cap and gown. He supported me. He supported me through every little thing that I did. He made it a big thing. If it was so small, he made it big. And I remember when I walked into his hospital room and he looked at me, standing there in a cap and gown, a tear ran down his eye. I have never seen this man. He was military, strong, a man's man. Never seen him cry a day in my life. And a tear rolled down his eyes as he sat there with all the machines and all of that hooked up. And he died the next day. And I remember listening to the doctors when I was present, because of course I went to the doctors. I wanted to hear what was going on with Grandpa. I wanted to hear the prognosis. And they were talking about all these things. Tumors. Now, of course, he was a smoker. Pall Mall Red Pack. Tumors and all this stuff that they were saying. And I was like, how many tumors? Like the way they was talking, it was like a lot. And I got angry. Why we didn't get this checked out before? Why did we wait till we have a stroke? Why didn't you stop it before? Why didn't you go get checked out before? I remember feeling that anger towards a man that stayed on a pedestal. I remember feeling that resentment towards him. I remember feeling that for years after that. This is a person we were sitting on the side of the bed. He liked to watch Star Trek. He liked to watch all this kind of stuff. And he was smoking I don't know if he really smoked. Just a cigarette just kind of hung out of his mouth. But he just would be telling me things that I would have never have known. He told me stories, war stories, stories about his job, just a lot of different things. And I was like, all this time we're talking, you never said anything about checking your health. He always had a headache though. And that's the thing that pisses me off. Because even then I didn't question. I didn't step in and say, hey, let's go to the doctor. He went and went. But yeah. Anyway, I'm talking about the resentment that happens when we don't take care of ourselves and how our loved ones feel because they're helpless. I'm helpless. And while I take pride in what I've been able to accomplish for myself, I'm angry that I can't convince more hearers or create more hearers. And that the people I want to hear me may not be hearing me. Yeah. So I think what I'm feeling right now is that you can't drag somebody to wellness, but we can inspire people. We can model it. We can still be an example and still keep talking. We keep talking because one day they will be hearers. And that's where my faith comes in. I have faith that one day we will have more hearers. And those who are hearing me now, continue to do your journey, continue to go forth, continue to stand in the gap, continue to stand in the light, continue to do what you're doing for yourself. Do it for yourself. Watch your life and doctrine closely, because when you do, you not only save yourself, but your hearers as well. So tonight, I just thank you for being a hearer. Yep. I'm out.